Hello, my name's Gary Hodge. I'm a mental health nursing lecturer from the University of Plymouth, and I'm presenting a shortened version of my thesis that I completed as a PhD in mental health with Lancaster University in 2020, and I've titled the presentation Becoming-Dementia. So first of all, I'm going to talk a bit about dementia. So dementia is an overarching term that describes a wide range of symptoms of cognitive loss due to pathological neural and or cerebral damage or deterioration that affects a person's memory, thinking skills, emotions and behaviours. Worldwide, there are around 54 million people living with dementia, with approximately 920,000 people living with dementia in the UK. Alzheimer's disease is the most commonly diagnosed and publicly recognised forms of dementia, and it makes up to 60 to 70% of all cases, of which the predominant symptoms are short-term memory difficulties and the potential to be disorientated to time, place and person. 60% of all those receiving care in the UK are living with dementia, and 69% of those living in residential care have a dementia diagnosis. Also, approximately 25% of all NHS bed capacity at any time is occupied by people living with dementia. Therefore, I ask myself, how can we truly provide person-centred care that meets the needs of people living with dementia within these institutions? When completing my PhD thesis, which was titled Becoming Intersubjective in Medias Res of Behaviours that Challenge in Dementia, a layered autoethnography, I came to realise that the only person-centred way for professionals such as nurses and residential care providers to actually care for people living with dementia is through the formation of relationships of togetherness. And this is only possible through the act of empathic curiosity. To do this, the carer needs to embrace and explore the person living with dementia's lived and living experience, rather than invalidating that experience and immediately attempting to reorientate them towards an all-encompassing and unquestionable institutional truth. When discussing intersubjectivity, Alfred Schutz referred to the mutual tuning in, noting that world experience is not a private experience, it is a shared experience. Martin Buber, the philosopher and existentialist, echoed that sentiment, stating, "The world is not comprehensible, but it is embraceable through embracing one of its beings." He stated, "We are unable to offer authentic relationships if we separate ourselves from others by only viewing them as objects of difference and somehow inferior." This is a relationship that Martin Buber referred to as the I-thou relationship, a place where true connections can be made and explored. One issue that often arises when professionals care for people living with dementia is the question of how to institutionally respond to behaviours that challenge. These behaviours can include persons living with dementia's inability to orientate to the here and now. This can lead to so-called disruptive, aggressive and wandering behaviour. However, it is my opinion that we should not be misled by this orientation narrative. As the people living with dementia, there is no here and now. Instead, they are continually travelling back and forward in time, and we have the choice to join them rather than ask them to join us. I argue that, guided by Gilles Deleuze, the past, the present and the future can and should coexist. In fact, without the past, the present cannot exist. However, memories are not recollections of a moment, but instead a new becoming, a combined and transient present and future. These becomings offer the opportunity to learn about the person living with dementia through an innate curiosity of other. These ethereal temporal becomings are the lens in which to view the narrative of the person living with dementia, a narrative which is expressed through an experiential self rather than a remembering self, through the concept of eternal return, Yet this eternal return is not cyclical in nature, but a univocal acceptance of difference in all its sporadic forms, a becoming future where the pure past can be reimagined, reformed and re-embodied, creating a space which becomes an assemblage of enunciation. However, such unicity of understanding and expression can only exist by embracing the unpredictable and chaotic spiral of transient new beginnings. And this is only made possible by the erasure of memory. I wanted to capture my thesis and its very own assemblage. Therefore I wrote a poem, which I will share with you now. It's called A Kaleidoscope of Memories. The tempo of our presence is counted by the calendar of time, the passing of our moments in the rhythm of a rhyme. A sense of being judged by the way our life has been, decisions we have made, and the things that we have seen. We search amongst our memories from the story we have told, the memories we have created, collected and behold. These are the chapters of our life, all laid out in the mist, the story's central character, the famed protagonist. The protagonist has set their course, the story is now laid bare. Suddenly, the antagonists arise without a thought or care. They swiftly steal our memories and take them out of sight. What was the sunlit uplands becomes the dark of night. The script becomes confusing as performers swap their roles. The protagonist no longer leading as the storyline unfolds. We fumble through our screenplay to make some kind of sense, agreeing with directions so as not to cause offence. The troupe are right behind us as our performance starts to fade. They rally all around, rushing quickly to our aid. The company is now growing as the plot begins to change. What used to be familiar now somehow feels quite strange. Our story is a kaleidoscope of memories from the past, encroaching upon the present but leaving just as fast. That standout solo performance is no longer there to see. The story is now about becoming from where we used to be. So I conclude my presentation by asking myself and you as the audience that when people are confused with dementia and we try to reorientate them to the here and now, is my reality more important than the person living with dementia? Or is there a middle place, time and reality, where we can both meet?